Hello, I am Jessica. Have you ever wondered why some men in their 60s still attract deep, meaningful love without trying too hard, while others feel invisible, even when they do everything right? It's not about looks, and it's not about money. It's not even about saying the perfect words at the perfect time. In fact, the truth is much quieter than that. And once you understand it, everything about how a woman sees you begins to change. Because at this stage in life, attraction is no longer built on excitement alone. It is built on something deeper, something emotional, something most men completely overlook. And if you stay with me for a few minutes, you'll begin to see exactly what that one thing is and how it can make a woman feel naturally drawn to you without you chasing, forcing, or pretending to be someone you're not. Welcome to a space where we don't talk about loud advice or surface level attraction. We talk about what really matters, especially after 60. Because love at this stage is different. It's calmer, it's more honest, and it carries a kind of depth that younger relationships often miss. At this point in life, a woman is not looking for someone to impress her every day. She's not searching for perfection. She's not even looking for constant excitement. What she truly wants is to feel understood, to feel safe, to feel like she can finally breathe when she's around you. And the man who gives her that feeling, without trying to control it, becomes unforgettable in her eyes. So, what is this one thing that changes everything? It's simple, but not easy. It's your emotional presence, the way you are with her, when nothing special is happening, the way you listen, the way you respond, the way you allow her to be herself without rushing, judging, or correcting her. Because what many men don't realize is this: a woman doesn't fall in love with what you say, she falls in love with how she feels in your presence. And when she feels calm, accepted, and emotionally safe around you, her guard slowly comes down, and something deeper begins to grow. Let me tell you a story. There was a man named Khalid. He was 64, retired, living a quiet life. He met a woman named Aisha through a family gathering. She was younger, thoughtful, and had gone through her own share of emotional ups and downs. At first, Khalid thought he needed to impress her, so he tried to talk more, explain more, even give advice whenever she shared something personal. He believed that showing his experience would make her respect him, but something wasn't working. She was polite, but distant. She listened, but she didn't open up. And deep down, he could feel that gap growing between them. Then, one evening, something changed. Aisha was talking about a difficult day she had. Normally, Khalid would interrupt and suggest solutions. But this time, he didn't. He simply listened. He looked at her, stayed quiet, and allowed her to finish without rushing her emotions. And when she was done, he didn't try to fix anything. He just said softly, "That must have been really hard for you." There was a pause, a deep, quiet moment, and for the first time she looked at him differently, not as someone trying to impress her, but as someone who truly understood her. Later, she told him something he never forgot. She said, "With you, I don't feel judged. I feel like I can just be myself." And in that moment, everything shifted. You see, this is the power of emotional presence. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it is deeply felt. Especially for a woman, emotional safety is one of the strongest forms of attraction. When she feels that she can speak freely without being corrected, when she feels that her emotions are not a problem to be solved, but something to be understood, she begins to trust you, and trust is where real connection begins. At this stage in life, a woman expects maturity. She expects calmness, she expects depth, and when you stop trying to prove yourself and start simply being present, she begins to relax around you. And when she relaxes emotionally, she connects on a much deeper level. Most men believe that love is built through action, through doing more, saying more, giving more. But after 60, love is often built through something much simpler: your presence, the way you sit with her, the way you listen without distraction, the way you don't rush to fill every silence. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can give a woman is your quiet attention. And what she's really asking, even if she never says it directly, is this: can I be myself around you without fear? Can I speak without being judged? Can I feel without being told I'm wrong? And when your presence answers yes to these questions, something beautiful begins to grow. Let me share another short story with you. There was a man, 71 years old, who had lost his wife years ago. He lived simply, spoke softly, and didn't try to stand out in a crowd. One day, he met a woman at a small gathering. They started talking, nothing extraordinary, just a calm conversation. But what made him different was the way he listened. He didn't interrupt. He didn't try to impress. He simply gave her his full attention. Weeks passed, then months. And slowly, she began to choose him. Not because he was the most exciting man in the room, but because he made her feel something rare. When someone later asked her why she chose him, she smiled and said, "He gives me peace, and I don't have to pretend around him." And maybe that is what love truly becomes. Especially later in life, it's no longer about butterflies or constant excitement. It's about peace. It's about comfort. It's about finding someone in whose presence you can finally rest. And if you want a woman to feel deeply connected to you, you don't need to become someone else. You don't need to learn complicated techniques. You don't need to chase or force anything. You simply need to be more present, more patient, more understanding, because sometimes the smallest shift in how you listen, how you respond, and how you hold space for her emotions can change everything. And there's something even deeper that most men don't realize. Emotional presence is not just about listening. It's about how you make her feel in the silence between words. Because sometimes what you don't say matters more than what you do. A woman notices the way you look at her when she speaks. She notices whether you're truly there or just waiting for your turn to talk. And in those quiet moments, she decides something very important. Whether she feels safe enough to open her heart or whether she needs to hold herself back. At this stage in life, many women carry invisible weight. Past relationships, disappointments, times when they were misunderstood or not valued. So when she meets a man in his 60s, she is not just looking at who he is today, she is asking herself a silent question. Will this man give me peace, or will he add to my emotional burden? And your presence answers that question long before your words ever do. There was a man named Rashid, 67 years old, who had spent most of his life working hard, providing for his family and solving problems. That's what he believed his role was, to fix things. When he met a woman named Mira, he carried that same mindset into the relationship. Every time she shared something emotional, he immediately tried to solve it. If she felt stressed, he gave advice. If she felt confused, he gave direction. In his mind, he was helping. But in her heart, she felt unheard. One evening, she said something that stayed with him. She said, "I don't always need solutions. Sometimes I just need someone to understand me." That sentence changed everything. For the first time, Rashid realized that love at this stage was not about fixing. It was about feeling. So he began to change, slowly. He started listening without interrupting. He allowed pauses. He let her emotions exist without trying to control them. And over time, something beautiful happened. She began to trust him, not because he had all the answers, but because he gave her space to be herself. You see, this is where many men miss the point. They believe their value comes from what they can provide, financially, practically, logically. But emotional connection doesn't grow from solutions. It grows from understanding. When a woman feels that you are trying to fix her, she feels like a problem. But when she feels that you are trying to understand her, she feels valued. And that feeling is what creates deep attraction. Another truth that often goes unnoticed is this. Emotional presence also means patience, not rushing her emotions, not expecting her to open up immediately, because real connection takes time, especially for someone who has been hurt before. When you give her time, without pressure, she begins to feel safe. And when she feels safe, she begins to reveal parts of herself that she hides from the world. There was an older gentleman, 70 years old, who used to sit quietly in a park every evening. He wasn't trying to meet anyone. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. But over time, he became familiar to a woman who also visited the park regularly. They started with small conversations, simple greetings, nothing more. But what made him different was his calm presence. He never rushed the interaction. He never tried to push it forward. He simply allowed it to grow naturally. Weeks turned into months, and slowly, she began to open up. She shared stories from her past, her fears, her hopes, and he listened the same way he always did, quietly, patiently, without judgment. One day she said something that revealed everything. She said, "I don't know why, but I feel comfortable talking to you in a way I haven't felt in years." And that comfort, that emotional safety, became the foundation of their connection. This is the quiet power you carry. especially in your 60s. You don't need to compete with younger men in energy or excitement because what you offer, when you understand this, is something far more valuable: stability, calmness, depth, the ability to hold space for someone's emotions without being overwhelmed by them. And for a woman who has experienced the ups and downs of life, that kind of presence is incredibly attractive. But here's something important to remember: emotional presence is not about pretending to be perfect. It's not about always saying the right thing. It's about being genuine, being real. If you don't understand something, it's okay to say, "Help me understand." If you don't have the right words, it's okay to stay quiet and just listen. Because authenticity creates connection, not perfection. And the more you practice this, the more natural it becomes. You start to notice her emotions more clearly. You begin to respond with empathy instead of reaction. You stop trying to control the moment and start experiencing it. And that shift changes everything. Because in the end, what a woman truly remembers is not how much you talked or how impressive you sounded. She remembers how she felt around you. Did she feel calm? Did she feel understood? Did she feel accepted? And if the answer is yes, she will naturally feel drawn to you without you needing to chase anything. So if there is one thing to carry with you from this, it is this simple truth: your presence is your power, not your past achievements, not your status, not your ability to impress, but your ability to be fully there, in the moment, with her, listening, understanding, accepting. And when you do that, consistently, quietly, sincerely, something begins to happen. She starts to trust you, she starts to open up, and without even realizing it, she starts to feel something deeper, something real. So take your time, slow down, be present, because sometimes the most powerful way to make someone fall in love with you is not by doing more, but by being more, in the moments that truly matter. So the next time you're with her, don't think about what to say next. Don't focus on impressing her. Just be there. Listen fully. Let her speak, let her feel, and watch how the connection begins to grow. Quietly, naturally, and deeply. Because in your 60s, this one thing, your emotional presence, is more powerful than anything else. And when a woman feels that from you, she doesn't just like you, she begins to trust you, and eventually, she begins to love you. If this message resonated with you, take a moment to like this video and share it with someone who might need to hear it. And remember, you don't need to do more to be loved. You just need to be more present, because sometimes that quiet presence is exactly what her heart has been waiting for.